enjoy the lake.
Install engine gear thrush washer number 17 against engine gear already in gear cases. Install propeller gear number 19 into gear case from threaded end of gear case, meshing the gear teeth on the propeller gear with the short pinions already in the gear case. Good.
Yep.
Install propeller gear thrush washer number 20 against the rear face of propeller gear.
Okay. Full thrust washer. Then I think we put this number 23, we put this in there.
Okay, here we go.
I'm pretty sure that goes. The roller bearing goes in there. Then this guy, but we gotta put the
Note. In step number 3 of P series service manual of disassembling gear case, press first engine gear bearing 2 inches into bore of engine gear. If removed for replacement, install internal retaining ring in the groove of propeller gear 19.
Not even that. Oh wait, pal. First we gotta put the snap ring in.
Yeah.
Then we put that in over the snap ring, and then we put the other snap ring in.
Wait, you gotta pull that out.
Okay. It's out.
We jumped ahead of our video for a second, so we're gonna back inform you of what we just did. We installed the propeller gear, which is number 19, into the gear case. When I read off these numbers, by the way, these are coming off of the parts list that we got from Federal Marine as well. So, propeller gear is number 19 into the case, meshing the gear teeth with the short pinions that we already put in there. So basically those last small gears, we're gonna mesh up this shaft right here with those. Install the thrust bearing race, which is number 20, over the spline end of the propeller. So we're just dropping down over that shaft, you can see. And then the snap ring goes in place, which would be number 21. And next to that would be a thrust bearing race, which is basically a washer, which is number 20. Install the needle thrust bearing, number 22, over the splined end of the propeller against the thrust bearing race. So basically the needle bearings there are going to sit down top of that little race. Assemble the thrust bearing spacer, which is number 23, over the splined end of the propeller gear, retaining ring and needle thrust bearing. And then install the second needle thrust bearing, number 22. So basically you've got a snap ring, a washer, a little needle bearing set right there. And then finally installing the clutch carrier, which number 24 is this big gear there of the spline of propeller gear, so it matches up with that shaft that's sticking out. Alright, so we're installing the clutch pack now. It says to install steel clutch plate 25 and bronze clutch plates in the following order. Place one steel clutch plate with the lugs notches of the gear case, and place a bronze clutch plate. Now, what you're going to want to do is this second steel clutch plate, you want to make sure that they don't line up with the holes in the first steel clutch plate. Alright, so again, it's kind of weird, but you want to make sure that the holes from the very first steel clutch plate and the second one don't line up. From that point on, you're just going to go ahead and put bronze and then steel alternating. And from that point on, you're going to want to go ahead and have your steel clutch plates, the holes line up. The reason being is that's where your springs are going to drop down and holds pressure on this entire system.
3 left.
So towards the end there says that there are 5 bronze clutch plates and 8 steel ones. The last 3 clutch plates in this clutch pack are steel. So you're going to alternate up until the very end, and then it's going to be steel, steel, steel. So 3 steel clutch plates all in a row. Here are these new springs we ordered from Federal Marine. Got those in place. Let's get a little tension on the whole system, like I said. Now it says, install the clutch springs in the holes of the steel clutch plate next to the last steel clutch plate, so that the holes in the lugs do not line up with the holes in preceding steel clutch plates. So one thing we found is that this manual is very, very
I like that's restating itself though,
hard to read, yeah.
from the first part.
So basically they just want the springs buried about like that. So if you watch the first video, you'll see we actually thought they were some sort of screw at first. They were so covered in junk. So it says to make sure that all the clutch plates ride freely on the respective lugs and that no binding is apparent during assembly.
Riding too freely.
So at this point, install the disc carrier number 28 with propeller gear against the clutch carrier, and install the retaining ring, which is this number 29 little snap ring here. One thing that's kind of frustrating about this particular transmission is these snap rings on here don't have little holes in them for snap ring pliers for reassembly or disassembly, so it's kind of a pain. Alright, once we get the snap ring in place, which would be number 29, this is to install the pressure plate number 30 on top of the last steel clutch plate in the clutch plate assembly cavity.
You can tell it's got some spring to it.
Yeah. And that didn't happen before. That stuff was welded together. Which is probably why I did notice one of the issues with the boat is it was very finicky about a neutral, and it always wanted to kind of start creeping out of that neutral gear despite any adjustments with levers, cables, any of that. I'm sure a lot of these problems were transferring over into that. Alright. Assemble the finger assembly to the screw collar using finger pin and securing with cotter pin. Do we do that?
Do what now?
Okay, yeah, it's on there.
Where? Oh, these?
Yeah. Thread screw collar on your Gearcase assembly approximately half of the thread length. Oh, here come the clips.
Only the top 3.
Huh?
Only the top 3. They ride free.
Alright, so we're going to use our new handy dandy caliper here. I'm going to measure. What do you think, just the threads?
Yeah, that's what it said, half of them.
So
1 inch.
1 inch. Alright. We'll screw till we get half an inch. A little bit more, I guess. No, that's right on the money, isn't it?
Yeah.
One more screw, maybe. Nope, that's there. Okay. Place operating sleeve assembly. Okay, place operating sleeve assembly onto the tail shaft. Position ball ends of finger assembly into the holes of the operating sleeve assembly.
Well, I don't think we're gonna get that far.
You're gonna have to screw that down more.
Huh?
You have to screw that down more here in a second.
This?
Yeah, the whole top.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, because that screw ain't even going in. Alright, what's it want to do?
Okay, it says place operating sleeve assembly, which is number 36.
Oh, yeah. It was the wallered out one, wasn't it?
Yeah, he said it is looser on one side.
Oh, okay.
Onto the tail shift. Position ball ends of fingers into the holes in the operating sleeve assembly. So these, oh, that's nice.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna fit.
Yeah. Let's rinse this out with some WD first. So we didn't clean this thing.
Pause it.